Now we will learn about Indian nationalism. In this book, we shall frequently come across the term nationalism. Essentially, this term signifies love for the nation. So, what does the word nationalism means? It means love for the nation, that is, love for our country, India. In the context of a country under the rule of some other country, it reflects a strong desire to get independence from foreign rule. So, why the feeling of nationalism had come in our, or you can say, in the minds of the Indian people? Because the British, they were started torturing the Indian people, they have started exploiting the Indian resources, and finally the Indian people realized that now it is a time to revolt against the British rule, or else we have to live under the British rule. The revolt of 1857, as we shall read later, was the first great expression of Indian nationalism. So the first act which took place, that is the first incident which state that the Indian people were against the British rule, was the revolt of 1857. This revolt show a number of provincial ruler of India supported by their people as well as sepoy or Indian soldiers in the British army rebel against the colonial rule. So in the revolt of 1857, we come to know that how different leaders they have come together and they had revolted against the British rule so that they can get independence. Though the revolt was suppressed, it made the people living in different regions of India realize that if they stood united, it was possible to overthrow the British rule. So with the act of, or you can say with the occurring of the revolt of 1857, the people, the Indian citizens, have realized that if we all people, whether they belong to the different castes, different religion, different parts of the Indian subcontinent, if they will come together, they can fight against their common enemy, that is British rule. So the concept of India as a nation and Indian as a people are a united country and not just a collection of smaller provinces and local identities took shape. So slowly and gradually they come to know the different types of evil activities which were done by the British rule in order to exploit the Indian resources and Indian people as well, and the feeling of nationalism, that is love for the nation, love for their country, has started evolving in their mind, and slowly and gradually they realize that if we will come together, we can finally overthrow the British rule from our country. In a later chapter of this book, we shall read in detail about the Indian nationalism and how it paved the way for the growth of the freedom struggle, eventually leading to our independence from British rule. So, in this book, we will learn about what are the different types of movements, different types of revolt that Indian leaders, with the help of the common people, men and women, children, students, all have come together, and finally we got the independence in the year 1947. Next is economic changes. The most striking economic change during the British period came in the land revenue system, that is tax system. During the British rule, British officials went around surveying the countryside and fixing the land revenue. So during the British rule, the British official, that means the officers who belong to the British Parliament, they have gone to different parts of the country and they started charging the taxes on the land according to their own will. Land revenue was the most important source of income for the government. So with the help of land revenue, that is land tax, it was the most important source through which they can get more money, and with the help of those money they can run the British government. Though the land revenue arrangement made by the British differed in different parts of the country, land revenue was fixed at a very high rates. So the rate, that is interest, in order to give loan or in order to take extra taxes, it was at a very high rate. This led to the extreme hardship, frequent famine, peasant migration and rebellions across the Indian subcontinent. So due to the high rate of land revenue, the people were facing a lot of problem. There was a frequent famine, that means there was not a proper you can say, as they don't have good amount of money, they were not able to do the cultivation, due to which there was a shortage of food, and many peasants, that means the farmers, used to migrate, that is they used to migrate from one place to another so that they can live peacefully. But British, British, they keep on pressurizing the peasant in order to pay as number of taxes, and different types of you can say rebellion, that means different types of fight, different types of conflict, different types of revolution take place against the the British rule. During the colonial period, the pre-existing pattern of trade also underwent many changes. When the British trader came to India, they brought spices, calicoes and fine cotton clothes and sold them in England. So now the British, they have started extracting the Indian resources from Indian people and pressurizing the Indian people in the different types of factories to manufacture as number of goods, so that they can take the raw materials from India and export them in the England, so that they can earn huge number of profits. They were usually paid for in bullion or silver. So they were usually paid in the form of the silver or the bullion. Later, many peasants went forced to cultivate opium, which the British sent to China in lieu of tea. So in the later on, the you can say the British, they have pressurized the peasant, that is farmers, to cultivate the opium. That means ganja. That is very bad for health. So why they have told to peasant to cultivate the opium, so that they can send the opium to the China in the China for the purpose of making tea. When India became a full-fledged colony, she exported raw materials like jute, cotton to England, which feed British factories in Scotland and Manchester. So now the British were pressurizing the Indian people to you can say to produce different types of items, that is jute and cotton, in huge number of amounts, so that they can export to it in the England, and with the help of these exporting, the British can earn as number of profit. These finished goods were then sold back in India at a very higher price than those at which raw materials were brought from India. So first of all, what they did, they first pressurized the Indian people to cultivate jute and cotton. Later on, they exported these raw materials to the England, and in England and Scotland, they have made these raw material into an item, just like you can say cloth, shirt, you can say different types of bags, and later on they again exported in India and sell these items at a very high rate. That means they were exploiting the Indian people. They were charging a huge amount of prices in each commodity or each items. Overall, trade which was in favor of India at the beginning of the period become very unfavorable for the country. So slowly and gradually the people were facing problem, and hence the people started realizing that now the British were exploiting them, and slowly and gradually the feeling of nationalism start evolving or start increasing in their mind. Another striking changes was the destruction of traditional industries such as weaving, pottery, iron smelting, brass works, etc. So another changes which taken place in the economic changes was the British forced to not to make different types of, you can say, industries, or they have destroyed the traditional industries of India, that is weaving, pottery, iron smelting and brass work. They were destroyed since they often posed a challenge to British trade and manufacturing. So it was a threat to the British business. That's why they have destroyed it. This phenomena came to be known as the disindustrialization. Gradually, the industrialization of India began in the later half of the 19th century, following a slew of efforts made by the likes of G.R.D. Tata and others. So slowly and gradually they started exploiting the Indian people. They even stopped you can say, or they even destroyed the Indian industry, so that the British can earn as number of profit. So in this picture you can see the Helmsford mill and early 19th century textile in UK. So in these mill, the raw materials which were brought from India were taken, and they have made the different types of goods, that is cloth, bags and so on, and later on these goods were again bought in the India and again sell at a very high rate.